Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Commerce Lab by Ecomcy, the place for everything related to Amazon, FBA, parallel, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, your host, founder, and CEO of Ecomcy. And today we bring you our special guest. His name is Burak Yolga, and he's the co-founder of Forceget, which is an amazing company when it comes to helping you with everything related to freight forwarding and much more, which we're going to be touching on today's episode. We're going to be talking about a series of topics. A lot of things been happening in the space, especially we actually both met in first time in person at Amazon Accelerate. And Amazon did some interesting announcements, especially in the supply chain and freight forwarding space. So that's something I'm very interested to hear your take now that you're in. I mean, that's your focus as a business. And then, of course, we can also touch on some of the things people can consider nowadays to, be more efficient with shipping, some tips around Q4, and so on. Yeah. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Burak. So how you doing?
Thank you so much, Vincenzo, to have me. Amazing. We did Alibaba event, we did Accelerate, just came back. It's been 2 weeks, but the 2 weeks felt like 4 weeks. A lot of things to catch up, but really good times, A lot of new innovation is coming by Amazon.
I know. Amazon actually was quite aggressive, I would say, at the event in terms of announcing a lot of things. Especially, I would say, yeah, in the freight forwarding and basically the whole supply chain side of things, they did a ton of announcement that was wow. They're definitely going for the whole pie, like they're targeting all the different areas within the Amazon space. So maybe we can start with that about what has been your take about those announcements from Amazon Accelerate. What do you think? Do you really think like they're gonna keep the standards they mentioned, which we know when Amazon announce a lot of new things, like they try to shoot all the different things at once, but then the reality is some of these programs don't end up working as they should. So yeah, what is your feeling? What do you think about this new announcement? Yeah.
I agree. They started to announce a lot of different things about the supply chain since last 2 years. We talked about, Amazon announced first, like Amazon Global Logistics from China to US, door to door. And then they start announcing AWD, which is long-term storage. As we all know, after the pandemic, Amazon fulfillment centers became not a long-term storage, more as like a fulfillment center. So now Amazon was thinking, okay, where are all these people going to store their products? So now they start building giant fulfillment. They start to build giant warehouses where you can long-term store that. And they come up with this great idea in theory, which a lot of issues happening with in the actual real life, the practice, as you mentioned, that if you store your products in Amazon long-term storage, if your fulfillment center, if your FBA inventory quantity goes below certain quantity, they will do automatic fulfillment. So you don't need to worry about it. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen in the real life the same way that they announce it, because there's so many big pieces actually that they're trying to connect. But after they connect the big pieces, then there's so many other small details, which we're talking about, like, millions of cargo every day, like millions of pallets they're trying to move around throughout the year, and they store it, they label it, they ship it on time. And because the volume is so big, they do not have their own domestic trucks like Walmart has. They're using third-party service providers, such as like a really big domestic carriers in the United States. And those companies, they have their own setup. So they're trying to match, trying to connect, from all the way, the announcement was from all the way from manufacturer to the end user, the entire pipeline.
All integrated. Yeah, exactly.
Entire pipeline. But when you look at it, even on the screen, you're like, wow, there are like so many elements that they need to control. But when it comes to the real life and operation is one thing, plus customer relationship another thing. Like, one of the biggest issue with supply chain, Amazon Global Logistics or AWD, their customer service agents are not actually ever seeing the product. They never actually know where's the product.
It's a black box, basically. You put the request inside, they pick up the product, and then you hope it gets for destination.
Yeah, they actually assign you an agent, but then when you ask, hey, what happened to this car? They're like, oh, let me open. So what's the reason to, Amazon doing a lot of great things, but when it comes to the supply chain, I think they need a lot of time to optimize things and stuff, but real world change is way faster than you can actually implement something in the real life. So it's a lot of work, but companies like us who have already done the digitalization, tracking, we kind of try to get into it, play the role, and with especially the second exciting topic was the global expansion.
Exactly.
That's another thing that Amazon wants to talk about. So global expansion, I think, will be the next big thing.
Yeah. So can you tell me more about this global expansion? So people can also learn more about what they can expect from this. So what is basically Amazon trying to do with this new announcement as well?
It's very interesting topic because now Amazon becoming 2 years ago, even like maybe almost like 2 years, they start assigning account managers to the sellers, like brands. That's a big thing because, and in Accelerate, if people haven't been, it's a 5-floor venue, and the top floor they had the one-on-one meetings with the Amazon inside people. That's incredible because you have a problem with your catalog in the past, you open a case, if you're lucky it gets resolved in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now people from Amazon, you can email them directly and ask them to help you with the troubleshooting. That's incredible. And that's like,
I think that thing a lot as a seller, sorry for interrupting you, makes the whole trip worth it, because
I
imagine
agree.
now having those emails for if something happened in your account and you're losing thousands of dollars because of a thing that is not resolved, just by going there, like it's game changer.
Absolutely, you're right. And the best part was, another thing was like global expansion. We work with Amazon Canada directly when it comes to the global expansion. We are one of their preferred partner for the international shipments and the US Canada truck shipments. So they refer us people, we refer them people. It was the same program. They start to create like new programs such as FBM worldwide. You can actually fulfill the product from the US all the way to India, maybe all the way to Japan, all the way to UK, Europe, and or you want to ship something from US to UK, then you can speak to seller, you can speak to account manager. So basically, Amazon is becoming more like a branded place versus you can go and buy a lot of cheap stuff and the quality is not good. I think they're changing the idea of what the Amazon can give you. The fast delivery, free returns, hassle-free shopping is great. But now they also want to do, okay, we want to make this a good experience too, like good buying experience. They already did that, but the products that products will be sold, they want it to be more specific, more quality. That's, I think, the great idea, because now we see that the TikTok is coming to the market as an e-commerce shopping. Temu, if people didn't hear about that, it's kind of AliExpress type of a Chinese shopping, a marketplace where you can order things and things will be shipped from overseas, China, Vietnam, India, Turkey, to your directly. So now Amazon thinks that if there's so many new players are coming, what will be our position? So I think the Accelerate 2023 told us a lot of different strategy, that it's all about like branding now. It's all about global expansion. If you have a good product, if you have a good branding, if you have a good positioning and a special niche, I think Amazon makes your life easier to expand globally and then sell in more marketplaces, which you can leverage your buying power from if you're a private label seller. If you're ordering from China 10,000 mouse a month, that a year, you could now add up Japan, UK, Canada, and then you can order 15,000 units maybe, and then your purchase price can go down because your quantity increase. So this also helps sellers. So many people, they think that it's extra revenue, but it's also extra profit, which we talk about it. 2023 is the most important year for the profitability.
Of course. Now let's bring to the table how guys like you guys at Forceget basically differentiate from what Amazon offers and bring to the table. I think something that is unique from what you guys bring to the table is that one-to-one approach that you will never get from Amazon, right? Is that relationship? Absolutely. Is that thing that you get a tailored solution to your business? And maybe you can also highlight what are some of the benefits of working with guys like you compared to some of these solutions Amazon is bringing to the space, because I think sometimes it's important to make the highlight. Sometimes people think that a decision just as easy as only sometimes focusing on pricing, but I feel it goes deeper than that, and decisions like this can be game changer for your business. So maybe you can tell me more about what are some of the benefits of working with a company like yours, for example.
Things change sometimes every day. One day we wake up and Amazon changed inventory limits. Another day you wake up and your supplier has a raw material shortage, and then they delay your production for like 2 weeks. Or there's an environmental condition. We see that so many things are happening in the Suez Channel or Panama Channel, that your shipment delays 2-3 weeks, or there's a strike at the destination. So you kind of need to be ready for all these challenges. And now we've been people who have been receiving so many challenges recently, and they have a lot of problems with their supply chain, international logistics, sourcing, and all these problems are causing at the end the cash flow issue. And in order to be a successful business, you need to have a healthy cash flow. You don't have to make so much profit, but if you have you're making a lot of profit but you don't have a healthy cash flow, then you can go to bankrupt, which the last thing that a business owner would like to experience. But so many people are having this issue because compared to 2-3 years ago, all the supply chain time went from 3 months to, let's say, 5 months, because of the production delay, shipping delay, fulfillment delay. And Amazon also has a shortage in the warehouse workers, which they're hiring seasonal employees, almost 150,000 people in the US, which is a good sign. They're expecting a high buying attitude from the shoppers. Is a great thing, but the sellers are having an issues with all this kind of issues. So companies like us, when you wake up, you have a less limit. You don't know where your container can go, and we're like, okay, let's have the transload option. Let's store half of them, deliver the half of them in here. They're like, hey, do you have an account in Canada? Maybe we can open an account, help you to open an account in Canada so you can ship it to Canada. So we kind of help people to, we have a lot of experience every day. We are having different type of challenges from our different clients, and we talk to them. So it's kind of, we have the problem pool, and then we kind of pull up the solution from that pool to help people. So I think people should have absolutely one-on-one relationship with their freight forwarders. That's like the most important thing. Up to 2-3 years ago, nobody really talked about supply chain, nobody talked about freight forwarders. I'm like, yes, it's our time right now to talk about, especially after Amazon also announced the supply chain, which you can see in the core of the event was about supply chain. It's all about the profitability, and that's what the brands start to look at it. I mean, you guys are having an incredible agency that you deal with a lot of clients. You do a lot of phone calls to the demo. We are the same. And the first thing they started to ask about us is the timing, not about the freight prices. They're like, how can we shorten the time? How can we get paid? How can we get paid faster by the Amazon?
Yeah, cash flow is king. I mean, if you don't have the cash flow because you're lacking the control on your not only the supply chain, but how fast you turn around inventory. I mean, that's game changer, especially in the Amazon space. And this, like, if you go out of stock or you lose sales velocity, it's a killer. So that's why I feel, and that's actually good, that people shifting the mentality that it's not anymore about how much it costs. It's about time. Time is money at the end of the day. And that's why you see sometimes, and I have clients already that they're doing that, they're moving the supply chain from, say, China to Mexico, because Mexico, it could be more expensive to manufacture. But guess what? You basically remove those sometimes 45 days of shipping by sea from China. Now you have it in Mexico just by a truck to the US, right? So I guess, I'm sure you're seeing this as well. It's shifting the mentality,
Right.
So.
It's right. And also there are, so many issues with the economic circumstances or even like politics, which we're not here to talk about politics, but it's eventually affecting the tariffs, the duties.
Exactly.
A lot of factories, manufacturers in China, they also started to manufacture products in Malaysia, Vietnam,
Exactly.
or there are a lot of companies from US. They're going back to China again because of the cost efficiency.
Yeah.
There is no inflation in China; it's opposite deflation. It means that the
Exactly.
prices are actually going down because of the the low demand in the domestic market.
Exactly.
So
There's
you
a
need
lot of
to,
factories basically with empty floor, like no
yes,
product to
yes,
manufacture.
which is crazy and really sad, because I lived in China 8 years, and at the time I lived in China, China economy was booming. Like, in some point I had a sourcing company back then, and in some point I had to choose the customers. Like, I didn't have time to reply
Yeah.
all my customers. It was a great time. Now it's a different time, but now it's a different game. And it's all about, like, companies needs to become more like a company. If you're an Amazon seller, you need to be part of a community. You need to start creating a better structure within the company. You maybe need to hire a marketing agency, or you need to maybe set up your own marketing team. Start from the small. Try to find the profitable products. We had a client that they are selling a, they're selling a screen, like a curtain screen, for the projectors, and they sell this product in the US, like almost a full container per month. And they launched in Japan. They're selling 3 containers per month in Japan
Yeah.
because of the cultural issues. But you cannot sell a mini air fryer in Japan because they don't have a space to do it. So
Exactly.
your existing product may not be selling in a different marketplace, but you can always look for an opportunity, try to go to the markets that it's not that hard to enter. There are so many
Yeah.
markets now, and Amazon makes that very interesting. We talked about expanding to Brazil, and it's crazy. Like, actually, another thing is, now Amazon is even helping you with AI translation.
Yeah. They
Your
announced that.
listings. That's crazy, because there's so many, like, translation agents in the world, and then they're like, oh, you know what? You don't need that anymore. You can translate it in one day. Obviously, I'm not saying
Yeah.
use only that. It's 100% accurate, but
Yeah, you still have to go in and do the manual side of things, but
yes.
it removes a lot of the bulk, the bulk work. So it's a game
But it
changer.
is it is something. So that's why Amazon really wants you to expand globally. I think if you're not selling in a different marketplace like Walmart, Etsy, Kroger, you should try to look for an expansion to another marketplace. Australia is a great market, high income country. Maybe you're not going to sell that many quantity, but CPC is lower,
Yeah.
so competition is lower. You may be making more actually profit in Australia.
Yeah.
So
If in fact that's a very important thing. Like, we have to understand, and we need to shift the mentality that selling on Amazon is all about the 7 and 8 figures and plus. I mean, I know people that they don't do 7 figures, but
yeah.
they do more profit that some of the accounts I have seen when doing audits that do 7 8 figures. It's all about, as you say, and that's why the core focus on this year has been profit, because I feel, yeah, sometimes focusing only on revenue, and I'm pretty sure you see that with your clients, it doesn't mean you're profitable.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just important, to understand the whole game. Like, not like
Yeah.
only, you need to widen your world. You need to open your eyes, and Amazon is helping you with this. So I think that's the greatest part right now in the business.
Awesome. Now, let's also bring to the table, the conversation of international shipping, right? So we know things being very dynamic in this space, especially when COVID prices went up, then it went down and stabilized. Now I want to hear what is your update on what is happening right now in this space. And what I mean by this, like, do you have any projections in terms of if prices are gonna stay low as they are right now? Is there any kind of theory there that prices are gonna go up again? Like, what is the current status of international shipping, so people can be aware in 2023 in September what is happening? Yeah.
Right now the prices are still low, but the shipping lines canceling a lot of space to increase the
Mm,
price a little bit. Yeah, that's the thing,
okay.
because they don't want the ship. They don't want to, depart a container vessel is
Empty.
half empty. So it's a lot of cost for them. So that's why it's because of the demand and supply. If the demand in the
Yeah.
U.S. market, let's say, if it is high enough, then there will be more scheduled vessel. There will be more there will be higher prices, and then demand
Yeah.
is not that high. So that's why we see a lot of different surveys where people where the business owners are expecting not a big jump. And the interest rates are very high right now, so people don't want to use their credit cards that much because it's kind of harder to pay off. A lot of people in the US, they live bill to bill, and that's like a problem right now, where we have a high inflation in the United States, and the rest of the world is as well, and the Fed is still increasing the interest rate. So these are like all like a snowball effect, and it's causing the weak demand in the market. So that's why the international shipping prices are not increasing, but this is causing them cash flow issues, because then if you book something, it, instead of departing this week, it can depart in 10 days, 2 weeks. So that's why if you work with like Amazon Global Logistics only, they're not going to share you any a schedule, like firm time, departure, arrival. So you need to work with a freight forwarder who can help you with exact booking, immediate booking, and help you to track the shipments. And you can adjust your PPC budget, or you can adjust your Amazon listings and activate or deactivate the coupon, because if you don't know when your product's going to arrive and check into Amazon FBA, then you basically are making blind decisions. And if your competitors are not doing blind decisions, it means that you're going to stay behind the competition. So that's why it's extremely important to speak to an expert. It's extremely important to talk to the freight forwarders who are more in the niche, that who has the license, who has the experience with Amazon, and more importantly, they need to have an existence in the destination market, because everything can change. We have so many containers rejected by the Amazon fulfillment centers without any good reason. They're like, it's busy, come back, do this, do that, and then these are something that cannot be planned or projected. So you need to react extremely fast. Otherwise, if the container stays in the trucker's yard, you can get maybe $300 to $400 extra charge. By the time you write to your freight forwarder, they wake up, you make decision, 3 days pass, and that could cost you like $1,200, $1,500. And this doesn't mean that international shipping is cheap. You need to understand that the last mile delivery and the final delivery is the most important thing right now, actually.
Now, the nice thing of also working with guys like you is that, because you see so many different cases and you work with in so many different locations, that over time, I'm sure you have identified like efficient patterns in terms of how to ship certain products, in terms of the quantity, in terms of the location, etc. And what I'm trying to get with this is that Q4 is coming. And I'm sure with your experience being in the space for so many years now, there are some things that you have like in terms of, these are my most things to do when it comes to Q4, right? I know we are pretty much in October, so shipment should be basically going out by next week, mid of October. So I wanted to hear your take. Like, what do you expect this Q4 to happen in terms of potential delays, and also like when people should be shipping latest, and maybe some advice you can give in terms of how to be as efficient as possible when it comes to cost when shipping in Q4.
The most important thing, we're expecting delays on the Amazon check-in process time. Not with international shippings and deliveries, but when you deliver products to Amazon FBA, they also distribute the products within 40 to 45 separate fulfillment centers. And this is causing a lot of delays for the check-in process. A lot of people, it's actually funny that a lot of sellers, they think that, oh, my shipment is delivered, why it didn't check in? They're like, oh, you guys didn't deliver it? I don't believe you. You guys didn't deliver. You lost my cargo. We're like, no, you need to wait, because Amazon, sometimes it takes 1 or 2 weeks just to scan the barcode.
Yeah, it's just sitting there on a corner.
Yeah, they're sitting. But imagine they're like 50 truck brings the products in. They check in, the robots take them to the shelf, they distribute it, they repallet it. It's just crazy process. And a lot of people don't understand that. So that's why, it's very interesting that we hear this a lot. And, one thing that you need to understand, what will be the check-in time of the Amazon. So if you don't understand that process, you're going to run out of inventory for sure. So don't wait until the next day. And then another thing is, FBA fees increase a lot in the fourth quarter. They go up 5 times. So you should have a 3PL partner where you can store your products in California.
Super important.
Ship it to Amazon very frequently. Otherwise, you might be eating your profit. A lot of people, they don't understand that. It's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah, super important that thing
Yeah.
right there, because I feel when people calculate lead times, they assume, and I agree with you, they never really calculate the time, the robot and the scanning and everything, which is usually 10 to 14 days. And that's because when we do audits, we find that a lot, like people losing positioning because they've been doing that mistake over and over again, and then
Now
rest is
Amazon
history.
also now Amazon is also charging. Now Amazon is also charging long-term storage fee in the FBA. That's why they're like, we don't want you to keep it. They start increasing their rates maybe like 3 times more. So you
Yeah.
got to be like super careful about that, you know.
Yeah. Have you seen as well, and maybe you can comment about what you think about this solution, which is not new. It was announced this year, where customers can buy inventory space within Amazon. I don't
I
know,
mean,
what is
that's
your
also,
take on that?
I think that's also tricky.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to comment on that too much because, in my opinion, that's not. I don't know
It's
what
a
the what.
gamble. It's a gamble in some sense, because you're
Yeah,
basically saying if you're gonna sell it, then they charge
yes,
you. So
yes, and
it's
then,
tricky.
it's kind of like not that ethical in my
Yeah.
opinion, because you're kind of charging them, and it's just like a little
Yeah.
tricky. You got to understand, very careful, and if you're not sure, don't do it. Also, like
Exactly.
it's also okay to play safe. You don't, and then a lot of people, they get, we had a call yesterday with a potential client. They are
Hmm.
selling like a car accessories, like a lot of different parts, lights and stuff, like for the SUVs. And they're like, what do you think about this program? What do you think about this program? They had the list of the programs that they asked us about, 6 7 different, and they're like, we don't know which one you want to start with. I'm like, don't start with anything, just optimize your FBA search, optimize your size. Another thing, Vincenzo, people don't understand how important the Amazon FBA layers. They have different type of layers. So like depending on the product size, they charge you different money. So you can
Exactly.
start looking at your competitors, how much they're paying. So instead of going into something new, a lot of people, they don't even go through their own listing. They don't go through their own FBA fees. They don't go through any of those things, and they're suddenly, oh, we want to try three new things. They're, oh, our sales increased, but we're losing more money. How is it possible? Because
Exactly.
if you don't optimize your fees, if you can start selling more, but it means that you're going to lose more money on the fees that you don't check out. So you definitely look at your first optimizing and do some audit, work with companies like yours to get the audit. And we also offer free HTS code audit,
Yeah.
which is like an import record. When you might be paying like a lot of extra money that you
I
have no
think
idea.
alone is an amazing tip. Yeah, explain
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
so like the import tax is very important.
Yeah.
We had a customer, they import doormats, and turns out they're paying 25% instead of 3.3%. We find it out,
Crazy.
and they import 2 containers per month, and each container worth of $50,000. So at the end of each month, we start saving them $22,000, and it's just 10,000 units in it. It makes it 22 cents. And their selling price already $8.99. So imagine they're saving like 77, almost 7% of their selling price from the duty.
Yeah.
And when you look at from the gross profit, that's even more, because after FBA fees, they're actually making $3 each unit. So they are saving like more than 10%. So there's so many things to dive into, so many things to look into. But again, I think the best thing to do is, I have my pen and pencil. I write down the things, the checkpoints, and start looking at that. That's the best thing you can do for the fourth quarter. Saving money, especially the FBA fees. Like sit down and study about the FBA fees.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good. So, thank you very much for being on the show. I mean, the amount of knowledge you shared today is definitely going to help a ton of people, as always. And,
Thank you.
before we conclude, I want to ask you if you can also share with us, like, how people can get in reach with you and your team. So, if they
Right.
have more questions about your services, if they need support, so, we can put that into the notes as well of the episode. Yeah.
We have free consultancy call, 15 to 30 minutes, to give people like understanding better what they should be going through, like all the checklists. We can go into more details, so they can send an email at sales@forceget.com. I personally check those emails and have the call and then assign them the right person. So that's the best way to send us an email, and we get back to them within 2 hours, not like 2 weeks.
That's good, Burak. So thank you very much. And looking forward to see you soon future events. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon, man. Take care.
Have a nice one, bro. Thank you. Bye bye.